I've been thinking a lot lately about how you got to give some to get some. And, obviously, this is true with money, takes money to makes money, right? But the more I've thought about it, the more I realize this principle of circulation is true absolutely everywhere and anywhere I look. So I want to unpack that as a kind of life hack, something to see working everywhere. And remember, whenever you find yourself wanting more of something, that's where we're going in this cosmic coin drop. One of the things I realized as I started to see this absolutely everywhere, working with anything that we want, need, give, receive, is that it's literally built into the energetic building blocks of existence. I'm talking about the energies of the wheel of the zodiac, the 12 archetypes made up of the four elements expressing in three modes: cardinal, fixed, and mutable, basically spelling out the three components of this kind of natural law: out, give, cardinal; in, receive, fixed. And the two of those combined makes this kind of spinning of the energy, this dynamic force between the two, where a momentum of flow gets created. And so, okay, let me give some examples just to show the wide span and scope that we're talking about here. It's like, if you want more love in your life, give it. If you want more appreciation or acknowledgement in your life, start giving it. See how much it starts to come back to you. If you want more likes on your post, are you liking other people's posts? And of course, with money, do you want more to start flowing in? Start investing where it counts to be able to make that possible. And what I love though about this, regardless of which way you're looking at it, what use case of it you are looking at, is that it points to the fact that kind of the whole point is the circulation of it. It's not about the getting or even just about the giving. It ultimately is about the system that gets created, the dynamic process between the two, where it's about it just continuing to flow. And the giving or the getting is just part of the kind of yin yang opposing forces that keep that movement happening. And the one that is in your control is the giving. And that's why if it occurs to you something that you're not getting as much as you would like of, you could probably think of an example, especially in relationship, where you've tried to just complain maybe, or demand, insist, or otherwise coerce or manipulate getting more of what you want, when really the simplest way is just to give it, and to give it without the expectation necessarily of getting it back. Give it for the pure act of giving. And that kind of supercharges the whole thing, so that you do ultimately, often, more times than not, end up getting what you're giving. If you're not, might be time to question the relationship you're in. But that is the when we're not getting in our own way, how it wants to operate. So when it comes to money, we're talking about expenses, the output, the giving of the money, and then the getting of the ROI, the revenue, the income that comes back to us. And I find that this is an example for many business owners of just focusing more on how am I going to make the money, the getting, whether or not an investment is working. And what I find is that people spend so much less time bringing awareness to the giving and the output. And this can happen both practically speaking, they're just kind of avoidant of their numbers, of their expenses. Maybe they're leaky around it. Maybe you have subscriptions that you don't really need that's draining your money. Maybe you have some kind of spending habit that is not very mindful or intentional, that ends up wasting a lot of your money, right? So there's that strategic part that's important to pay attention to, as important as it is to track what's coming in, because from what's coming in, we subtract what's going out to see what's left, to be able to overflow, allocate to other things, to expand and next level your lifestyle, to be able to up your investments. This is something that really needs your strategic, mindful, intentional attention. But then there's this other side of it too, because the energy behind, the intention behind what that spending is just as important. It makes every dollar like a prayer to call towards you more of what you want. This is one that most people don't think about at all and is a pretty revolutionary part of what we do in cosmic currency, a mindset reframe where you're maintaining an awareness for every dollar that goes out from your business, every investment that you make, every expense. It's not just about the rooted in compliance the fact that you are supposed to be keeping track of your expenses, to ultimately mean paying less in taxes. Again, that side matters too, but it's also just as much about being aware of that you are in choice around those expenses and that you have a very deliberate intention, reason for feeding and fueling whatever that is that money is going toward. And this is where it gets more woo, but also is the antidote to a kind of disconnection. Because when you're in that seat of intention, of agency around, I am choosing to and feel good about giving my money toward this thing because it is helping me to achieve this in my business, to cultivate this with my clients, to liberate me around this specific amount of time that I'm able to spend with my family. And when you frame it like that, instead of just, these bills you have to pay, it amplifies the power of your dollar inside your business. And it really expands the scope of what you're giving. You're not just giving the dollars then. You are energetically infusing that giving of the dollars to get back not just money through revenue in your business, but other things that matter just as much that those investments are making possible for you. Some food for thought as we deepen into Gemini season, where the currency right now that's circulating is ideas, perspectives, the way that conversations light up blind spots naturally by what one person is seeing gets revealed to what somebody else couldn't see. And I can almost see it, it's this invisible realm, but like we're constantly being inundated with ideas, whether in conversations or in social media, and having this process in us where we're filtering what creates little moments of aha for us, what gives us inspiring ideas of things that we want to try, what shows us examples of like, no, not that. And so by contrast, lights up how we want to pursue doing something. This is all a kind of currency. And so we can look at it with the earth element, more materially with the money itself, with the air element, like in Gemini season, with the ideas and the perspectives that we are circulating and exchanging, with the water element of the emotional impact, the emotional vulnerability that we give, and then the connection that we receive through others doing the same, and with the fire element of how we express our excitement, our inspiration, our passion, and how that stokes the flame for others to show up as more and more of themselves from that spark within them. And so in all of these areas, your withholding of any of it is just slowing down the circulation that we all get to enjoy. My hopes with this episode is to really enliven the thing that might otherwise, when we're just focused on the numbers or the metrics, seem kind of dull and dry and dead, is really this vital life force thing in all of these different arenas. So, whatever that thing is that you want more of, if you want more money, put yourself out there with your dollar and invest in what is going to support you to be able to do that. If you want to feel more inspired, put yourself out there more to inspire other people. If you want to go more deeply with your clients, if you want the online space to feel more intimate, let yourself get a little bit more vulnerable. Share a little bit more of yourself in your inner worlds. And 'tis the season of Gemini. If you want to experience more of the magic of curiosity around your path, your life, your business, try affording the same to others. Ask a question of someone that gets them talking. You might just be surprised what you get back.